3-cord widget, made sure that one cord was going off in this direction, and because I'm this side of center, here's my center, to this side of my center, I need to have 2 cords coming off of this side. So make sure that that is the case when you use a 3-cord. Like I said, you could have this flipped 180 degrees mounted on this side. You just need to make sure that these 2 cords are going in the right direction so that you can thread everything down your shade. So you're going to take the 2 cords and pass them through the center screw eye. And each kit, or each order I should say, comes with a little plastic needle, which is really helpful for threading through the ladder tape. So you go through the screw eye with your cord, and then I like to start my cord, you're going to weave it in and out of the solid sections. And I like to start my cord 3 solid sections above the first or the last tack point. The tack point closest to the headrail, count up 3 solid sections and go under, over, under. Then you should be at a tack point, and then you're simply going to go under and over each of these solid sections. If you get to a section where there is not an even number, you can skip one of the solid sections and just go over, under, to wherever you are in the sequence. I'm going to turn and continue on. When you get to the bottom, you're going to go over under the last solid one, and you're going to go through the brass ring at the bottom. You're going to have more than enough cord, so at this point I make sure that all the cord is through, and I'm going to cut it so that there's about 8 inches, 8 to 10 inches at the bottom. So with these 2 that come through the center screw eye, you have to decide, one is going to go down the center lift, ladder lift, and the other one is going to go to the outside. So I kind of look at it this way and see which is most logical. You don't want cords crisscrossing each other, so make sure that when you're threading that these 2 cords do not get inadvertently twisted on each other. They need to have a clear path. So I'm going to take the cord that's lowest in this stack. There are 2 cords that are stacked on top of each other. I'm going to take the lowest cord and I'm going to run that down the center ladder. So I'm starting 3 solid sections above this first or last tack, however you consider it. And I'm just going to serpentine in and out of the ladder all the way down. Make sure nothing is twisted. Your cord is fairly straight coming out. You can cut off some excess. And repeat with your last cord. Make sure you go through the screw eye. So now our cords are all woven in and out of the ladder tape. And I like to put it on the edge of my table. I put the board the way it's going to be perpendicular to the shade. This is how it's going to be when the shade is mounted in the window. And I'm going to take a clamp and clamp it down. Make sure none of the cords are pinched. And they're not, they're good. Make sure everything is flat on your shade. You want your lining fabric flat as possible, square as possible. And now we're going to knot off at the brass ring. I like to use a double hitch knot. You can look up different knots. Basically, you want a knot that is going to get tighter with pressure. So whatever knot you use, there are lots of YouTube tutorials about good knots to use. I use a knot that is designed to get tighter when it's pulled. So I kind of start in the middle. You don't need to pull it super tight. You just need to be consistent with the tension on all 3 cords. And if everything is square on your table, then your shade will be level. So I do basically a double half hitch. Do the same here. On our website, we have a close-up of the details of this double hitch, but I'm sure you could also go online and find many different tutorials for this knot or for other knots that you may be comfortable with. So whatever knot you use, just, do it, practice it, have a little reference guide if you need it, so that you have something to refer to, so that you're always doing the same knot with all of your shades. Consistency is key. If you're fabricating shades, it's always good to be consistent with some of the techniques that you use. Therefore, if you have a problem, you're going to know how to correct it or what to change. If you do it different every time that you make a shade, you're never going to know how to fix a problem or make something better. So it's a good practice to follow some steps if you run into a problem or you want to make a change with your shades, and just be consistent in the process. That'll help you make shades faster too. So those are all three of my cords knotted, and then what I like to do, put my needle away. I like to keep this length of cord around, just in case I need to make an adjustment down the road, or if I need to take this widget off for some reason, I've got extra long cord. If I have to re-knot, I'm not dealing with a very small section of cord. So what I like to do with this extra cord is I'll put my little plastic needle back on, and I just poke through the fabric. I just poke through just the lining fabric right around where the you just have to kind of weave it, work your way through, push your way through that lining. You're going to make a little hole in the lining, but it's okay, the cord is going to be there. And then I'm going to, because we whip stitch this bottom hem, so I'm just going to weave it under into this hemline to basically bury the length of cord. Sometimes you can just tuck it in. So now that I'm at this stage, I think I can just tuck it. Yep. Because I just hand stitched that, I just hand whip stitched it, I can just tuck all that cord in there, and then you don't see it from the front. You can feel it, it's there, but you'll never know, and you'll never see it. So I'll take the next piece and kind of move it in, make a little hole. I do this on my standard shades as well, and on the standard shade you have a hemline that's coming up towards you. You don't have to go through the lining fabric with that fabrication style, because the hem is on the back side of the shade to begin with. One more cord here to the front. You can also just kind of weave this cord through the front, this top edge here if you want. Just kind of poking it out to move it along. This will kind of just keep the cord up along this top edge. I'm just tucking it behind the whip stitches and into the hemline. Trim that off. So from the front, you don't see any of the cord, the excess cord. You know that you still have a little bit there if you need it. And then from the back, the underside, you also don't see any cord. So just make sure you're clamped at one end. You have good even tension. You have a solid knot here at the bottom with your brass ring. And then we're ready for the last step.